I'm life and business coach Samantha Sifring, and this is the Online Business Building Mamas podcast, where you learn how to build a wildly successful business from home while raising kids. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. So this is kind of a personal episode, and this is an episode that's been on my mind for a while that I've wanted to do for all of you, and I've kind of been sitting on it and waiting. And the day came where it's like, all right, it's time to record this episode. So recently, I found out that I have ADHD. And I've been processing, I've been thinking a lot about it, I've been researching and learning so much. And one of the major things that I've noticed is that as I've been learning about ADHD, I have been looking back at my childhood and just my past in general and the way that I behave in general, and having so much more understanding for why I am the way that I am. So much more understanding for what I do, why I do it, and so much more compassion for myself. And I've had such a shift in the way that I look at myself. And I even considered myself as somebody who has a lot of self-compassion before this happened. Before I found this out, I really thought that that was one of the things that I had worked on so much and had really gotten so good at, is being really kind to myself, being really loving and gentle to myself. But what I have found through this experience is such a shift even more in that direction. And that's why I wanted to share this. I really debated, is this something that I want to share publicly? Is there a purpose in that? And ultimately I decided yes, for this reason, for the reason of teaching you about what I've learned about self-compassion since I found out this about myself, and really encouraging all of you to embrace self-compassion at this same level. So here's kind of how I've thought about it ever since I found out. I feel like I have a new context for how I see my behavior. I feel like I have a new lens for understanding myself. It's like I put on a new lens, and the way that I look back at my past, the way that I look at how I show up in the world, the way that I look at every single behavior of mine is different because of this lens. It's like if you put on like pink glasses, the world would be pink. And it feels that way. Like I have put on these new glasses and I have a new way of seeing why I am the way I am and why I do the things that I do, the way that I do them. And I have a new level of appreciation too for, wow, look at what I was dealing with and what I was able to overcome. And I've realized that a lot of my teaching, a lot of the concepts that I've created, it's all been coming from this. I had this moment where I was like, wait a minute, is time redesigned just like how to do time management and get things done with an ADHD brain? Maybe it is. So I have this different level of appreciation for what I've created. And I think that this is something that is available to all of you right now. I don't think that you have to have some kind of a diagnosis to access this kind of thinking about yourself. And I want you to really think about this. I want you to recognize that we all have something. Most of us have multiple things, whether it is mom life. I know a lot of you have a really busy life as a mom. I know many of my clients have multiple children. Many of my clients have really young children. Some of you have babies. Some of you have like 4, 5, 6 plus children in your house. This is a lot of other people to be taking care of, right? I feel like 3 is so many. And I know so many of my clients have way more than 3 kids or way younger of kids than mine. Mine are 12, 10, and 7. We're in such a beautiful, easier phase. Like, oh my gosh, those of you with young kids, like the golden era is coming. It is amazing and just feels so much better than when you can't even go to the bathroom alone. So know that these days are coming. It gets so much more easier. But I know that there are so many of you who have so many demands on your time and on your energy because of kids. And I want you to use that as a lens for self-compassion. I think one of the most interesting things that I've reflected on, I have kind of had some thoughts around, I really wish that I would have known that I had ADHD when I was a kid. I think it would have made some things so much easier, but it also allowed me to have to problem solve at such a different level, right? And yeah, it would have been great to know that earlier, but I feel like I have learned so many skills. I've created so many different tools and systems and that kind of thing for myself that maybe I wouldn't have otherwise. So, you know me, I'm always looking for silver lining where it's available. But I think for a lot of you as moms, you've kind of made motherhood a reason why you can't achieve the goals that you want to achieve. Or you have made it a reason why you can't achieve them when you want to achieve them or the way that you want to achieve them. And you're using it as a reason that you can't do what you want to do. And sometimes I wonder if I would have known about having ADHD earlier, would I have used that as a reason to not accomplish at this level, to not create at this level? Who knows? Maybe not, right? But I want you to be really aware of where you're using your thing as a reason why you can't do the thing that you want to do. Because I think we can always figure out how to do the thing we want to do. That's always available to us. And I don't ever want you to use anything, especially motherhood and your kids, as a reason why you can't succeed right now. Some of you have grief. I was coaching a client recently who has had a profound loss in her life this year. And I know that that is a lot of you. I've had a lot of clients have big losses in their lives this year. And this is a real thing. This is part of the human experience. And it's not an experience that you just get over. It's not something where you just get your grieving over with and you move on and you go back to normal. This is something you're going to carry with you. And when I was coaching this client, the thing that she realized is that she had been making her grief mean that she couldn't succeed in her business right now. And it's just not true. You can be grieving, you can be taking care of yourself in your grief and succeed and hit your goals and show up just the way that you need to achieve those goals. I want you to know that carrying something like that with you, going through an experience like that, doesn't block you from having the success you want. So that might be your thing, right? It might be grief. It might be being a mom. It might be something like what I'm going through. What I found out is my situation, right? You may have a neurodivergent brain. And if so, you are in the right place because apparently I have created everything in my business to work with having a brain that is not exactly the neurotypical type of brain, right? And I think that there's so many examples of really successful people who aren't neurotypical. We can do this. You can do this. This is not going to block you, but I want you to have compassion for yourself. I want you to give yourself so much grace, right? Same as with being a mom, same as with grieving. I want you to give yourself so much grace and understanding and flexibility to be who you actually are with what you actually have going on in your real life. We aren't growing our businesses in a vacuum as robots. And I think so many of us approach our business like we are. So many of us approach our business like we are a robot, that we have no external circumstances, we have no internal feelings. We should just have high vibes only and excitement only and just be these business robots who are showing up with nothing bad ever happening and going wrong. And that's just not what it is to be a human. You're going to get sick. People you love are going to die. Your brain might be working against you. Things are going to happen. Things are going to come up. You are a human being. And no matter what your set of circumstances are that you're working with, it's not going to be the most perfect, ideal situation to grow a business ever. But I want all of you to know that it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be ideal. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a robot. You get to be a normal human being with a real life and real emotions and a real brain and still be successful. So stop judging where you are. Stop trying to overcome who you are and what you have going on. Just accept it and have so much love for yourself. Think about how you would treat someone else who was being like you, who is going through what you are going through, behaving the way you're behaving, thinking and feeling the way that you are. How would you approach them? Would you be harsh? Would you be judging? Would you make them wrong? Or would you have so much love, so much compassion, so much belief in them, so much support? This is really what I want you to take away from this episode, no matter what your thing is. Even if your thing is just, I'm a human being and I have a human brain. And even if it is neurotypical, it's still working against me some of the time. Whatever your thing is, I want you to have so much love for yourself. I want you to notice and observe how you think, how you feel, how you behave. And I want you to understand it. I want you to observe it so that you can have understanding of why. So that first step is awareness. What am I thinking and feeling and doing? And then that next step is understanding. I want you to create that lens of understanding. I want you to come to this awareness with this interest and curiosity to discover why. Why am I doing this? Why does this seem to serve me in this moment? Why does this serve me in general, right? Get that awareness and then have so much compassion. Of course I'm thinking that way. Of course I'm feeling that way. Of course I'm showing up like that. It makes sense. That kind of self-compassion is so important. And here's what I've noticed. Since I've gotten this answer about myself, about ADHD, since I found that out, there's been certain things about me that I've stopped judging. certain things about me that I've started to just realize, oh, that's just how my brain is wired. I do that because that's how my brain is wired. That's what my brain wants to do. That's like what it knows how to do. And because I have that lens, instead of judging myself, instead of coming down really hard on myself and having this perspective of like, I'm a mess, or no one else struggles with this. Why is this so hard for me? What's wrong with me? Instead of that kind of narrative, I've had this understanding and this like, of course, yeah, that's how my brain works. And what's fascinating is from this place of self-compassion, I've actually had so much more power to change. I've had so much more power to shift how I'm thinking or how I'm showing up, the things that I'm doing, to work with them, to understand, oh, this is how I'm wired. This is how my brain works. Okay, knowing that, now what do I want to do? How can I make this easier for myself? How can I set myself up for success? I think so many of us approach ourselves with this perspective that we're wrong, with this perspective that the thing that we're doing is wrong and it's a problem and we need to fix it. And there's innately so much resistance in that approach. And when you come to yourself with this understanding and compassion, then it opens you up to solve it. Instead of trying to like strong arm yourself into being different, it allows you to work with yourself, work with the way that you already are, and be successful. So what you're going to see in all of my programs, but I would say especially Time Redesigned and the time modules in Mama to CEO, both of those things, what you're going to find is that my approach is very much look at who you actually are and what your life actually is, and let's work within that reality to set yourself up for success. What is going to work best for you? And I really help you figure out what is going to personally work best for you. I think that's the thing that really sets me apart from other coaches, is that it's not that there's no structure, and it's not that there's the one structure you must follow. It's that here's like the loose skeleton of a structure within which you can bring your actual self and your actual life and what you actually want. And I'll help you put all the pieces together and figure out what your unique way to succeed is going to be. Taking into account your real life, taking into account your real humanness, not expecting you to fit any mold. So I really hope that all of you out there take time this week to really appreciate yourself, to really spend some time intentionally loving yourself, like feeling love for yourself. You don't have to get a diagnosis to have this. You can just decide right now to love yourself, to have compassion for yourself. That is your right. As somebody with the ability to choose your thoughts and feelings, you can choose that right now. And I really, really hope that you do. If you like this podcast, I want to invite you to coach with me over in my program, Mama to CEO. There's you, and there's the consistent income you want to make in your business, and I help you remove everything standing in between. It's lifetime access for mastering your marketing, sales, time, and everything else you need to have the business and life you really want. Whether it's making your first 1,000 or 100,000, I can help you do it. To join, go to mamatoceo.com. MAMATOCEO.com.